Scott Moe is the Premier of Saskatchewan. He's with us now. Premier Moe, good to see you. And it's the first time I think I've interviewed you since your re-election, so congratulations, pardon me, on that.
No, thank you so much, Bastian. It's great to see you again, too.
My first question to you, Premier, is very simple. Do you think the imposition of those tariffs are unavoidable?
I wouldn't say they're unavoidable. However, we need to take them very seriously. And there is an order in which we need to do some work as a Canadian government, as provincial or subnational governments, in the lead up to that January 20th date. And then there's some other tools that we have to have prepared and ready for a post-January 20th date. So I'm hopeful they aren't going to be implemented, but we need to fully prepare for the fact that they could be.
And I want to ask more in a second about how that preparation goes and sort of in what way, what fashion it happens in. But I did also want to ask you about whether or not, insofar as if they're avoidable or not, you think it's all tied to the border? Because I've heard you talk a little bit about the work being done between provinces and with the federal border plan that we're expecting, or whether you think there's more to the threat. If Donald Trump is tying it, for example, to what he sees as subsidization, what we know as a trade deficit, like, is this about trade, is it about the border, or is it a mix of both?
I think it might be a mix of both. However, you know, right now it seems that it's about border security, and this is an opportunity for us as a national government, I would say, our national government, and for provinces to work alongside the federal government to do what we can to secure our borders, not because the president-elect has asked us to, but on behalf of Canadians when it comes to, you know, the influx of drugs, precursor chemicals that are coming in that people are making drugs with, and it's really a plague and a poison that is present in Canada. And so increasing our border security is something that we should want as Canadians primarily, not just because president-elect has asked for it. That being said, I have no doubt that there won't be concerns as we find our way through the next number of months or years coming from President Trump that may revolve around a trade deficit, and trade negotiations may revolve around concerns with our 2% NATO commitment and when we are going to meet that.
My impression is that certain elements of the federal government and certain premiers don't think it's that clearly or that explicitly tied to just border security, and that I know you're acknowledging that trade may become a bigger part of it moving forward, but I think from what I hear from Premier Ford, for example, he thinks it's about trade right now, and that's why he's going immediately to what Canada or what provinces will do in response. There is some reporting out there, and you have responded to it on social media, that Canada is considering levying an export tax on uranium, on other resources, potash. Those two primarily would affect the province of Saskatchewan. You have posted your opposition to that. Have you reached out to the federal government to talk about the possibility of that?
Yes, and I'll continue to reach out with them because they need to publicly say, and the Prime Minister needs to publicly say, that export tariffs are not on. In no way should we be taxing, what we are producing and how we are working alongside not only Americans, but, other allied countries around the world in creating energy, food, and manufacturing security. There's an order of work that needs to happen here. First is border security has been raised by President-elect Trump. Let's secure our borders on behalf of Canadians. And I'd ask the federal government to do that and I think they're coming forward with a plan, and I'm hopeful it's a robust plan. Second, we need to engage alongside the federal government as premiers, as subnational leaders on our own, to ensure that all of those elected in the U.S., including President-elect Trump, understand that we are doing and providing this energy, food, and manufacturing security together. The 49th parallel is a line where we have a North American economy that is integrated across that line, and we need to ensure that everyone comes to the realization that we're producing these products together, not for one another, not in spite of one another. As January 20th comes, if we should find ourselves in a tariff situation, that's where we have to be prepared with a specified import list that we might tariff. We did this under country of origin labeling a decade ago. We did this under Section 232 and steel and aluminum tariffs a number of years ago under the current Liberal government. But under no circumstances, I will be asking, and I'm asking very publicly for the Prime Minister to publicly state, should we ever consider tariffing the production of Canadians. That would be a betrayal of those that work in the industry. That would be a betrayal of the Team Canada effort, and it would be a betrayal of Canadians as well.
I have to ask, though, with great respect, Premier, what else are they supposed to do, right? This isn't just steel and aluminum tariffs that are being threatened. This is a blanket import tariff on everything. As an export-based economy, we send to the United States. Doesn't our response have to be commensurate, even the threat of our response? And based on what we know about Donald Trump, isn't that the only way to get through to him?
The time that we got through to the previous administration under country of origin labeling, the time that we got through with very precise, precision focused tariffs under the steel and aluminum tariff discussion, and any of the discussions in the lead up into the closure and ultimate signing of the USMCA agreement, were always very, very precise in where they are having an impact, who they are having an impact on. Not a general trade and tariff war between the US and Canada is not good for anyone in North America. And don't think for a minute that others around the world won't be watching us essentially beating up on ourselves as North Americans.
And I do understand that, but I again ask with great respect, the precision with which you reference back in 2019, 2020, 2018, like that was in response to a more precise threat from Donald Trump, who applied tariffs on aluminum and steel. This is putting tariffs on everything that you export to the United States, all the potash, all the uranium, the stuff that they need. We have made the argument it's going to make, and you have, I'm sure, behind closed doors to your counterparts, it's going to make life more expensive to Americans. The incoming president last week told NBC News he doesn't agree with that. So if that is the reality, don't we have to be ready to take what is most valuable to us and use it to block the imposition of these tariffs? And if we blatantly say, well, we're unwilling to do that, doesn't that just hand the upper hand to Donald Trump?
No. What we need to do is change the minds of certain policymakers south of the border through engagement. And yes, eventually, if necessary, through very selective precision tariffs that are having impact on those particular policymakers. Nobody's going to win in a broad-based tariff war, regardless of what President-elect might do for a period of time. Canada should not enter into that broad tariffing in particular of exports, in particular of what we are producing in Canada. That is only going to hurt Canadians, and I would say it is a betrayal of Canadians, and it certainly is a betrayal of the conversations that we've had as premiers, lending our support to the federal government and lining up behind any and all negotiations that we need to have with the incoming Trump administration, using our contacts collectively as subnational leaders as well. And so no one wins in that case. In a broad-based tariff war, nobody is going to win in North America. In fact, I would suggest that, if in a broad-based North American tariff war along the 49th parallel, the winners are going to be foreign actors like China and otherwise.
And I do, Premier, take that point. But what evidence do we have so far that, as you say, the engagement strategy that is underway across this country is having any material impact on the way Donald Trump views this?
I would say the evidence is in the fact that we were able to bring the USMCA negotiations to a close and I would say that has made North American trade much stronger than it was before, and that was under the very same Trump administration. That was done through engagement at all levels, the national level, the subnational level, and I would say even the corporate, industrial, and business level was engaging throughout that process as well. We found our way through a very tenuous discussion around steel and aluminum tariffs not that long ago, again under the Trump administration the previous time that they were in the White House as well. We did that through very much what I'm suggesting we do now. We did that over 10 years ago when Stephen Harper was the Prime Minister, and there was a different administration in the U.S. as well when there was discussions around country of origin labeling. And so the process is quite clear. We need to be prepared to engage, to do a number of things in the lead up to January the 20th. But we also need to be prepared for what might happen should we experience these tariffs. And I would say that if we do things properly between now and January 20th, it would be my hope that we actually don't have tariffs, at least don't have them for a very long period of time.
Just before I let you go, Premier, I heard you say a few times in the interview today that you would like the Prime Minister or the federal government to publicly state that they're not going to bring in that export tax. Have they privately conveyed to you that they will not?
I've had discussions with the federal government, and listen, they are working on what the options are. However, we very strongly, and I'll be bringing to our Premier's meeting on Monday, export tariffs simply cannot be on. Tariffing and charging and having a negative impact on how Canadians create wealth and create a stronger North America through providing energy, food, and manufacturing security just simply cannot be on. That would escalate this tariff war to a level that has really been unprecedented level that has never been seen before in North America, and I would say only benefits foreign entities in other areas of the world. They by no means benefits anyone in North America, including those in Canadian, and in particular those that work in those particular industries that are exporting abroad.
Are they telling you, though, they won't do it?
I'm asking them to publicly state that they will not put export tariffs on any products. My concern are the products that are leaving Saskatchewan to not only the U.S., but to 160 other countries around the world as well. And in no way would we allow, or would we in any way support or endorse any type of export tariff. I'll be reaching out to the Prime Minister very shortly to ask him to publicly state to the province of Saskatchewan, and I would say to other Canadians across the nation as well, that this is simply not an option.
Premier, I'm going to leave it on that note. I appreciate your time as always. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Vashi. You have a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon.
Yeah, you as well.